Yo guys, welcome back to the MMA Nights. We've got an absolute banger coming your way this weekend at UFC 314. The featherweight title is on the line, but the storyline is anything but ordinary. After the vacant belt drama caused by Ilia Toporia's move up to lightweight, Volk finds himself in a very familiar spot. But this time, there's a hungry new contender standing in his way, and his name is Diego Lopes. It's a clash of styles, a clash of histories, and the stakes? Well, they don't get much higher than this. Volk's got that Hall of Fame level resume, but Lopes has been on a tear. So let's dive into this, break down every inch of the fight, and try to figure out just what might happen when these two hit the octagon in Miami.
What would it mean to you to win that title one more time?
Yeah, man, like you said, I really do think this is the biggest fight of my career. I think winning the belt now at the timing would be the biggest part of my story. So really looking forward to putting on a show and getting that belt back.
Volk enters UFC 314 on the back of two back-to-back losses, something that's pretty rare for a guy who's usually untouchable. After losing his lightweight title fight to Islam Makhachev, Volk dropped his featherweight belt to Topuria in a shocking knockout at UFC 298. These defeats haven't exactly been a walk in the park for the great, but let's be real, his resume still reads like a who's who of greatness. Volk's been a dominant champion for years, and that chip on his shoulder is probably a little bit bigger than it used to be. With a career record of 26-4, the Aussie has 13 knockouts and 3 submissions on his belt. His striking is laser sharp, averaging 6.16 strikes per minute with a 56% accuracy rate. His takedown game? Don't even sleep on it. Volk averages 1.78 takedowns every 15 minutes and defends them with a solid 70% success rate. But despite all that, this isn't the same Volk we've seen in his reign. He's coming out of that brutal knockout loss to Topuria, and some are even starting to wonder if the king is still the same after a couple of tough nights in the cage.
For me, this is a big, this is a big. Volkanovski is a legend in the sport. I follow your career for so long time, but now I think it's my time, it's my time for take the belt.
And then there's Diego Lopes, the Brazilian upstart who's taken the UFC by storm. His 26-6 record isn't as sparkling as Volk's, but don't let that fool you. Lopes is dangerous. He's finished 22 of his 26 wins, with 12 by submission and 10 by knockout. His ground game is his bread and butter, and while Volk might have the edge in striking, Lopes isn't a slouch on his feet. Lopes averages 4.20 significant strikes per minute with a 53% accuracy, and his grappling? That's where things get really interesting. Lopes averages 2.76 submission attempts per 15 minutes, and in his short UFC run, he's already gained a reputation for being a nightmare on the mat. His biggest asset? He thrives in scrambles and transitions, which could make Volk's life pretty tricky. What also makes Lopes stand out is his physical size. At 5 feet 11 inches with a reach of 72.5 inches, he's got a noticeable height and reach advantage over the 5 feet 6 inches Volk, who has a 71-inch reach. It's not a huge difference, but it'll be noticeable, especially with Lopes improving striking. Plus, this is a guy who's put together an insane 5-fight win streak, taking down names like Dan Ige and Brian Ortega, and he's been finishing opponents left and right. So, when we look at the fight itself, it's a classic case of expertise versus raw power. Volk will likely have the advantage when it comes to striking. His volume and timing are unmatched in the division, and his ability to keep his distance while landing clean counters is something no one in the featherweight division can ignore. On the other hand, Lopes has the ability to make this a dirty fight. His submissions are slick, and his grappling transitions could be a real nightmare for Volk if Lopes can get him to the mat. But that's the key question here. How does Lopes get it there? Volk's takedown defense is one of the best in the game. With a 70% takedown defense rate, he's shown that he's no easy target to put on the ground. And even when his opponents do manage to get him down, Volk is slick and can scramble back to his feet quickly. Lopes is going to need to be patient and precise in getting Volk on the mat because Volk is a hard guy to hold down. If Lopes can't secure that takedown, he might find himself playing catch-up as the fight wears on. And let's not forget, this is a 5-round fight. Volk's cardio is some of the best in the UFC. While Lopes is fast and explosive, it's unclear whether he'll be able to maintain that pace for 5 rounds. If this goes deep, Volk's experience and gas tank could start to show their value. Lopes' biggest chance lies in the early rounds. He's got the power and the finishing ability to make something happen quickly. If he can't get it done early, he may start to fade against a guy like Volk who can maintain a relentless pace for all 5 rounds.
This one's hard. This one's very, very, very hard. You know, when I look at it, I feel if it was Alex Volkanovski in the very beginning of his career, I would go with Alex Volkanovski. But Alex Volkanovski's got to be perfect for 25 minutes. He hasn't been a person who goes, bah, one hitter quarter. He hasn't been, boom. You know, I haven't either. You know, I do have knockout power. I've knocked people out before, but we haven't seen that come from Alex Volkanovski. I kind of find it hard to see him outwork a very younger, talented Diego Lopes. I just don't see it. But what I can see happen is that when they get in that gunfight, that exchange, and if Diego Lopes is able to catch him on the chin, you know, especially someone who's been knocked out multiple times, that's a sign that that person's chin is going. And for that, you know, I'm gonna have to go with Diego Lopes. Diego Lopes is younger, he might be faster, and me and Alex were on the same page where he's like, I can't get caught. I can't get caught. And when I hear that, I can't get caught, that's 25 minutes, he can't get caught. And then, you know, all it takes is 30 seconds, a minute.
He has lost 3 of his last 4, okay? And that will paint the narrative that you're getting old, that your time is done here in this sport. Thank you very much for all you've done. Off you go. Go off and be a legend, get inducted to the Hall of Fame. But Volk's like, no, that. My time is not done yet. It is not over. And I love that about him. He's taken a year off. He's recovered from the knockouts. He's recovered from the psychological trauma that he might have suffered. And the man is hungry. And I'm telling you, Saturday night, I think he's victorious. I think he's fought the style of a Diego Lopes on multiple occasions. I think the only kind of real unique challenge that Diego Lopes offers is that the man is wild. He is ferocious. And when he sits down in the pocket and swings, he's fast. He's lightning fast. And that's making me doubt this pick, because I am picking Volkanovski. I think the experience, I think the time away, I think the hunger that he has, I just think the general all-round skill set will prove too much.
The odds are pretty close, which tells you just how much respect Lopes has earned with his recent performances. And to be honest, it makes sense. Volk's a legend, but Lopes is coming in red hot and has the tools to pull off the upset. It's a tough one to call, but here's the deal. If Volk can regain the form that saw him dominate fighters like Max Holloway and Jose Aldo, he's the safer bet. But if Lopes can capitalize on an early mistake and get Volk in a bad position, we could see a new champion crown. So, what's the prediction? Volk's got all the tools to win this fight. If he fights smart, he should take this one. But Lopes? He's been knocking out, submitting, and shocking people left and right. If he can avoid the 5-round grind and hit Volk early, he could very well pull off the upset and claim that belt. So, what do you think about this fight? Do let us know in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and leave a like for more MMA content like this.